Today we are here to discuss the subject of national agricultural markets, and I have with me Mr. Pravesh Sharma, a former IAS officer. He is currently working with the startup in agricultural marketing. In his earlier stint, he was with the Ministry of Agriculture, where he successfully worked with farmers to organize them into producer organizations. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Sharma. My first question to you is, how do we envision a national market in agriculture? What are the 3-4 important components of this market, and what does it look like at the local or the state level?
The idea of creating a national agriculture market for the agriculture commodities basically arises because India is something like 30 separate agricultural markets. And given the fact that food is a fungible commodity which is required all across the country, the presence of these separate state level and sometimes sub-state level markets has led to great inefficiencies in our storage, movement and distribution of food products. Among all the big food producers, India is perhaps the most wasteful. And one of the reasons is the very, I would say, huge level of fragmentation in its food markets and primary agricultural commodity markets. So the idea of the NAM basically is to create a unified agricultural market for the country, so that food can travel seamlessly across state borders from regions of surplus to regions where there demand and local production is not enough. Now, given the fact that agriculture is a state subject, obviously the primary stakeholder in driving this national agriculture market are the state governments. But because of the national food security concerns at the central level, the government of India has been a big driver of this idea, and it has pushed the states to come on board the idea of the NAM. But along the way, I would say some of the essential features of a unified national market have been lost.
Who are the important actors in this national agricultural market? Who are the players at the local level? And what does the political economy look like?
See, before I answer this question, I think we need to understand the larger political economy of agriculture marketing in this country. So, what has happened is that, compared to other sectors like industry or services, agriculture, the basic factor markets and all the attendant downstream activities are perhaps the most non-liberalized sectors of the economy. So, in a sense, you have a strange paradox that while services, some of them are world class, many of our industries have achieved world class, parameters, but in agriculture, extremely pre-modern practices are still in existence. And this is evident most of all in the case of agriculture marketing. Even at the level of production technology, a lot of modern technology has been adopted. And we have the Green Revolution and there are several other successes. But when it comes to marketing, especially of the primary commodities, which means the staples like cereals, pulses and oilseeds, we have some very, very illiberal and pre-modern practices. So the big challenge is, how do we get states and the local stakeholders like the agriculture produce marketing committees, the APMCs, which enjoy a certain legislative cover, how do you get them on board with the idea of a national pan-India market? How can they see themselves as stakeholders which allow farmers in their area to discover the true value of their product? So that if there is a seller of pulses somewhere in Madhya Pradesh, he should have not just the choice to sell to the local trader in a mandi, but also to an online buyer who may be sitting in Jaipur or Mumbai or Gujarat somewhere. The state governments typically tend to protect the interests of the APMCs because they are a very major source of revenue. They support local electoral politics. It's a reality we have to accept. And because of that, they tend to enjoy power and patronage far in excess of the numbers. So I would say the total number of traders in all the APMC markets of this country would not be more than 25,000. And if you compare it to something like 9 crore farm households, if even half of them are accessing mandis to sell their produce, so the numbers don't compare. But because the patronage power is very disproportionately distributed, we have a situation where the state governments are in a sense trying to protect this legacy monopoly of the APMC markets. While the larger interest of the farming community would obviously be towards bigger choice, seamless movement of produce, lowering of transaction costs, connecting to bigger buyers, etc. So the big challenge in getting NAM off the ground was and continues to be, I believe, how do you get all these stakeholders aligned, and especially align them to the larger interest of getting farmers to discover true value, to enjoy higher returns, but also to I would say benefit consumers through smoothing of supplies. There are in this country patches of artificial shortages and gluts that would eventually, if there was a national unified market, be smoothened out.
What kind of reforms are required in order to create this national market? Do you think this requires a liberalization of the legal system? Do we need capacity building and market infrastructure? Or can some of the problems be solved through more competition?
Land leasing, number one, would have to become easier. It would have to be legally recognized. Tenants should be able to access institutional finance. Today, barely half the farmers get access to institutional finance for agriculture. So if the other half is accessing informal market credit starting at 36%, it's inherently unviable activity. Bring the APMCs on board as stakeholders. So instead of creating a parallel online trading portal, it was decided that the APMCs would form the physical backend of the portal. Okay, the portal still will be created, but the farmer will bring the produce to the physical mandi. The physical traders present in the mandi will have an option to bid for it, but it will also be posted online if the farmer so desires. And the farmer will then have the choice to either accept the online offer if that's better, or the local offer. This, we thought when we were designing it is a fair sort of compromise, and it will bring the APMCs on board. But the rollout experience has not been very happy so far. Many of our agriculture markets, if you go there, they perhaps represent a 19th century slave market. Okay, buyers are controlling all the cards. Sellers are completely at their mercy. This will have to change. NAM can perhaps be a trigger. I don't believe NAM can be the answer to the woes of agricultural marketing. NAM can offer an alternative, but NAM should trigger a larger process of reform in agriculture, and only that larger ecosystem reform will see the desirable results that we all hope for.
Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Sharma.
Thank you for having me.